What's going on, guys? Today I'm doing another rebuilding, and this time I am doing the Indiana Pacers after recently they fired Frank Vogel and felt like they are going to take a complete turn in terms of what they want to look at their future in terms of rebuilding the team. Of course, they're going to keep Paul George around, at least him, and probably Miles Turner, as Miles Turner is a very young rookie with a very high upside, and Paul George is already a superstar in this league. I think he's a top 10 player, probably a top 5 forward, and a very, very skilled player on offense and defense. So for this rebuild, basically my idea is I want to get a lot of good players, build mainly around offense, of course, while still having somewhat of a defensive mindset. And yeah, I guess that's the way to do it. So I'm going to definitely keep Paul George and also Miles Turner to stay somewhat similar to real life. Anyways, here's our first trade. I'm trading Monte Ellis and some picks to pick up Derek Favors from the Utah Jazz. Derek Favors is a skilled offensive and defensive player, especially in this game where he is pretty good around the basket, and he's a pretty good rebounder. He's an all-around solid power forward, kind of like David West from a few years ago on these Pacers teams. Now I'm getting rid of my point guards in George Hill and Ty Lawson, and I'm looking for some young guys, and I find Rodney Hood and Shelvin Mack, two young guards who are very useful to have on my team. Now I'm going to flip Shelvin Mack along with Jan Mahimny over to the Lakers to pick up Jordan Clarkson, a young point guard who I feel like can score a lot and be a good playmaker in just a few years. Regardless of what his actual role will be, I feel like he's much more valuable to my team than a backup center and a backup point guard. So anyways, as we're simulating through the first season, my goal for the first season is like all the other ones I've ever made in all my rebuilds, and that is to just feel out the team and see what's good, see what's bad. I really do not care if we win that many games in our first season. Of course, you always want to win the most, and this year I actually did not care too much, or at least for this rebuild, because I had the real rosters for or real draft class, and I like a lot of guys in this draft class. Of course, none of them will probably be a superstar outside of Brandon Ingram and probably Ben Simmons. I feel like Buddy Hield might be a multi-time all-star, but that's about it in the entire thing. You might have a couple guys who will bounce or show up as an all-star, but this is pretty similar to maybe the 2002 draft, where he's very top-heavy, and the rest of it was just there. So I don't know about this draft. I'll make a video about the draft. But anyways, going through the season, we're going to be less than 500, it looks like, at this point. And spoiler alert, that's how it's going to end up. And once again, guys, to complain about 2K, just really quickly, this is at 2 times speed, this video right now, and look how slow it still looks. Like, this is what I feel like it should be at its absolute maximum, is something like this. Or at least minimum, my bad. That should look something like this, where you simulate through games pretty quickly, because I don't know what's going on in their AI or whatever program they're running, but it's going way too slow. Anyways, as I ramble on about 2K and the stuff I don't like, we finished with a 34-48 record. And here are the award winners. And if you see LeBron James almost averaging 2 blocks per game, something happened to his player in terms of what he averages with blocks after this latest update. I have no idea what happened. I don't think his block really went up that high. However, every game or every season I simulate, it seems he gets crazy amount of blocks, and I believe he wins the finals once or twice when I'm simulating these series, and he averages a lot of blocks. Yeah, right here you might be able to see it. He averaged 2.4 blocks per game, which is incredible for a small forward. I don't know the record for like a small forward, but anyways, in the offseason we're hopping right into the NBA draft, and I couldn't get really a great pick. I got the 7th pick, which in real life I wouldn't like, but in this game where the drafting AI or drafting intelligence is stupid, it's not too bad. Because at that spot, you might see a guy who should be a top 3 player slip all the way down to you. As you see right there, Dragon Bender ends up going 2nd, while in real life, I believe he'd go 5th at the highest, in my personal opinion. So yeah, that's a good sign for me going through this draft. I'm only showing you the guys picked before me until the guy I get. And there's Buddy Hield, a guy who I feel like can be an all-star in the future. Possibly a Brandon Roy, my favorite player of all time. That type of player, very good scorer. Now going on to the 4th pick, I believe this is where Brandon Ingram gets picked. Yes, and I got a little upset because I thought he was going to slip to me. And Brandon Ingram is a great guy to build around. Of course, I don't think he'll be as good as Kevin Durant, but he has a very similar skill set, so I think he can be around that. Jaylen Brown gets picked, who I don't like that much, and Marquise Chris, who I have never even heard of. So at the 7th pick, I am able to pick up my guy, Chris Dunn. Not really a fan of him, but I feel like he can be very successful in the NBA. A very defensive-minded guard. I believe he averaged close to 3 steals a game or something around that while in college. And yeah, he's a pretty good playmaker as well. So anyways, here are a lot of the options that I had, qualifying options, blah, 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 whatever, whatnot. But I have a lot of money this offseason. Jordan Clarkson, I kind of want to bring back Jordan Hill as well. So I'm going to just throw him a small contract, 1 year, about $4 million. But anyways, as we go into the offseason, I'm really looking for a guy to help center my defense. So I ended up picking up Hassan Whiteside for a long-term deal. I was really looking at Andre Drummond, but the thing was, Drummond, he was a restricted free agent, and the Pistons would match any offer in real life or in this game for him, as he is probably a top 5 center right now in the league. I don't know off the top of my head, but he's very skilled and very useful. I'm trading away some big guys I have in Lavoy Allen and Jordan Hill because I just don't find a real use for them. So I pick up Tyler Johnson, a young guard out of from Miami. I believe he went to, I actually don't know where he went to college, but I like him a lot. I feel like he has a pretty good potential in this league. So I'm also trading away some young guys I don't care about. And I pick up a nice backup point guard in Briante Weber and sign Carlos Boozer to a small contract to help fill out my team. Now, going into this season, I of course want to make the playoffs now, as I feel like I know what my weaknesses was. Even though Miles Turner is developing pretty well in this game, I believe he is an 80 at this season, if not by next season. I feel like my big man play is not sufficient enough, and I really need to focus upon that to get some wins. However, sometimes in this game, you'll just get unlucky, and you will just take the dick for an entire season, which is somewhat happening right now. I feel like a team centered around Paul George, Hassan Whiteside, and a rookie in Chris Dunn would be a little bit higher than a 500 team, which is showing right now. But I feel like I had a lot of bench pieces and a lot of other guys on my team, including like guys like Rodney Hood, who could really help out this team. And I don't know why we're winning so few games, or at least relatively to what I expected. As we're still hovering around 500, I was thinking about what I should do for the offseason and whatnot, but I don't think I have that much money, as Paul George probably has a large contract already signed, or he's already locked into a large contract. If not, I have to pay him. And throwing I just paid Hassan Whiteside $20-something million a year. There's little to no chance of me possibly getting a big guy this offseason, so I was kind of upset about that. However, going through the trade deadline, I realized this team isn't too bad, and if I can develop some guys. Oh, I completely forgot. I also have Derek Favors. That's one thing about Derek Favors is when you pick him up, you completely forget about him. He almost never makes an All-NBA or all-defensive team. Very infrequently he makes an All-Star team. However, he's very useful to have on your team. You can't really build around him, but you can build with him for sure. Now, going around, you see Rondo actually goes back to the Celtics, which is pretty surprising, but here's all the award winners once again. Paul George makes it to the second team, which I'm pretty happy about, averaging about 25 points, which is very good for him. I believe around 8 rebounds. All those stats very nice to see on this team. And I don't think anyone on my team, oh no, Chris Dunn actually made it to an all-rookie team, which is pretty nice. And we ended up getting the second seed, I believe, or is that the third seed? Let me see if I can peek right now. Third seed, my bad. Up against the 76ers, but somehow we get destroyed, and the Cavs win it once again. You see LeBron, not as great, but 1.4 blocks per game in the finals. I don't know how he's so good, but, oh, sorry about this little sniffle. It's the allergies going on right now. As you can see, Miles Turner right there is an 81, and Rodney Hood is at an 80. Two young guys who are very useful. I should have traded away CJ Miles and Ronnie Stuckey earlier, as both of them have a huge player option. I believe both are around $7 million, or at least one of them was. And I feel like if I could have traded them away for a minimum contract and wouldn't have had that in my books. But regardless of what happened, I'm able to move on from this. And I'm trading away Chris Dunn, Tyler Johnson, and CJ Miles, I believe that was at the bottom. Yes, for Victor Oladipo and Alfred Payton. Two young good guards who I feel like can help my team on the defensive side of the ball. And both of them are pretty alright offensive players, where Oladipo has a really nice 3-point shot in this game. And even though Payton can't really score or shoot, he's a very, very useful playmaker. And I'm trying to get something behind him, having to pick up Salam Ejiri. I believe that's how you say his name. The big man who played in Dallas this year, I think. Sorry, I don't know too much about Salam Ejiri, or however you say his name. And I have to give up as well Kendall Marshall, who I didn't even show you guys. I picked him up, I believe, in like free agency for $1 million or $1.5 million contract. Something very it's like you'll look over that very quickly. Regardless of what it is, I feel much better about this team right now. And hold on a second, I need to take a little break because my nose is so runny. I feel bad. Sorry guys, but I'll be right back. Sorry about that guys, but it was really bad at that point. So I just took some Flonase to fix it up. But anyways, going back to this video. I was expecting to do much better this season, and it is looking better at this point, racking up about a 21-19 record, 22-19 at this point actually. And I basically wanted to have a much more successful team, and as you saw right there, you saw a huge lag trying to load one single game. And that's another thing I can't stand about 2K at certain times, but I feel like I'm getting more used to its downfalls and enjoying it for what it is. And I don't even know what I was talking about earlier besides this team, but I think that this year was my year in terms of winning the championship with this team, as I felt like a lot of my guys were improving. Paul George was, I believe, a 92 or 93, and then both Hassan Whiteside and Derek Favors were both around 87s, and a bunch of guys around low 80s. And at that point, you are a championship team, or you should be. And so we ended up finishing the season with a very respectable 51-31 record. And so here are the more awards around the league. I believe right there I saw, Rudy Gobert winning Defense Player of the Year, averaging 2.5 blocks per game. Very good for him. And somehow, I believe we were the first seed in the East, my bad. And Paul George didn't even make an All-NBA team somehow. That's something I don't get about 2K, is that you can have a very successful season with a guy, I don't remember his exact stats, but he's probably averaging like 26-9. However, he didn't even get acknowledged to an All-NBA team. Instead, they were just like, get an all-defensive team. That's all I'm going to give you. So anyways, guys, going into the playoffs, I don't know why, but for some reason, this team struggled a lot in the playoffs. And we're almost, believe it was every series, they went down 1-3. Or at least it started off 1-3 or something very similar. I don't know why. So as you see right here, I'm simulating through this series, and we ended up picking up this game against the Boston Celtics. I don't know their exact team. I believe they still have Isaiah Thomas, but it's all I can really remember about this team. And I don't know why we're struggling so hard. I know that we really won 8 more games than them, but there's no way that this team should really be struggling that much against almost any team. I built it where at this point they should be blowing out almost every team in the league. So right now, as you see, I do this a lot now. I feel like it actually helps out. Is that you can do this where you reset the you go to the coaches thing and then you automate the coach the minutes. My bad. And I feel like when you do it like that, what happens is all the guys who are injured or who are on hot streaks or cold streaks get minutes that they deserve. And I know that's what it's supposed to do, but I feel like that it's supposed to do that automatically for me, but it never ever does. So I have to do that pretty often, which is kind of annoying because sometimes like some guy will get injured, like he'll break his arm, and then they won't like fix that for you. So you have a guy breaking his arm, playing 30 minutes a game, and yeah, you'll just get blown out. Because sometimes I'll look at like the box score, and it's just ridiculous where it'll be like, oh, this guy played for 30-something minutes, he was a star. For instance, like Paul George would break his arm, and he'd play for like 30-something minutes and have 1 point. And I was like, what the hell? So anyways, as I keep on rambling on, we're going up against the Bulls in the conference finals after recently beating the Toronto Raptors, the team I love to hate on in real life and in 2K, which a lot of people get mad about, but that's just because they haven't proved to me that they're a playoff team. Except for this year, they're doing pretty well, but they can't close out games. So I'm doing this little cheese I usually do where you pause and unpause, and I always feel like that helps me out. And right here, as we jump into the game, Rodney Hood takes a huge shot to put us up 3 with just a few seconds left. I believe there was 15 seconds left. He ends up missing the shot. I believe it was Derrick Rose who took the shot, and Rodney Hood goes for a big dunk as we end up winning the game. Oh, and sorry about jumping to a whole new game, but what happens is I use PS4 share, and sometimes it just gets really iffy and spotty, where I'll be in the middle of one and then it saves, which I mean it should do after 15 minutes, but what my issue with it is then I'll press the record button, and when I do, it'll just say saved and it'll record it in like 5-second intervals. So that's what happened right there. Sorry about that. But anyways, going into the finals versus the OKC Thunder, I don't believe they won a finals in this simulation, or at least in this league. I believe it was the Cavs both times. And we were down 1-3 once again. However, we are coming back pretty hard. Right now, it's a really tough and tied game. They're up to with just about 10 seconds left. And as you can see, Paul George is hurt, which I don't know how he's hurt. Don't know what injury he has, but he just plays. As you can probably see, he has 0-0-0 up there for his box score, but he has a huge 3 over Kevin Durant right there to put us up by 1. And I'm super nervous right here because 2K Cheese, you know about it, especially deep in the fourth quarter. We're right here. I'm surprised KD didn't pull up right away, but Paul George plays excellent defense as KD misses the shot by mere inches, and we go to another game. Now going on to this final game, I actually believe this is the NBA Finals, the last game. Yes, it is. We are up in the series and we're pulling away. So we are going to be the NBA champions as the Indiana Pacers with our team, of course, centered around Paul George as well as Whiteside, Favors, Miles Turner, Rodney Hood, Chris Dunn. Those are the big guys on my team. Of course, I'll show you the guys once we win this game. However, I'm showing you the closing seconds of our NBA season for this year when we win the title, the first time the Pacers have ever done it. They used to be an ABA team, and ever since they came over, they never had real success. They made it to the finals a couple times with I think they made it once with Jalen Rose and Reggie Miller, but that's all they really did. So anyways, guys, as this is closing up with just a few seconds left, I don't know what's up with the AI. Maybe it's realistic to real life where people just love dribbling out the last 10 seconds. But we win the NBA title. Everyone's celebrating. And this is the part I didn't know was going to happen. Who was going to win Finals MVP? But right there, if you caught a quick glimpse, Derek Favors, yes, Derek Favors, the guy who I say we always overlook, wins the Finals MVP. And that is absolutely incredible. I never thought I'd see that. I usually just see a guy who's rated over 90 win it every time. But yes, you heard me right. Derek Favors wins the NBA Finals MVP. So here's our team with Oladipo, Favors, Whiteside, Joe Young, who I actually like a lot playing in this game, Salam Majir, Miles Turner, Rodney Hood, Alfred Payton, Rakeem Christmas, Rodney Stuckey. Couldn't see them all, but Paul George as well. The Thunder are very talented as always, but they can't pull it out in the end. Anyways, guys, I'd like to thank you guys for watching. If you watch this far, give me a thumbs up. Comment what you think. Subscribe for more 2K and NBA content. Sorry about not making videos recently, but share with your friends as well. So once again, guys, thanks for watching, and of course, have a good day.